Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to have you all here and to be together. We start with a question that's come in advance, and then open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. Is human love that we feel for each other the same as the love we feel for the divine? Ideally, it should be. If we are feeling real love, not love with the sprinkling of attachment, not love dipped in agenda and expectation, not love that's woven together with lust, but if what we're feeling is really love, then actually it is the same experience that we feel for God, because what we are loving in that being, if it's free of attachment, free of expectation, free of lust, then what we are loving is the soul, the spirit, the essence of that being, which ultimately is God or the divine, or however you refer to that sacred presence, that presence of spirit. The problem for most of us is that love is not separate from the sprinkling of attachment and expectation. When we love someone, we want things from them. And there's also sort of a sense of entitlement, like the longer you've loved someone, the more entitled you are to get things from them. We've been married so many years, I've loved you for this long, at least for God's sakes, you could show up on time. Right? I've given my entire life to you. At least for God's sakes, you could remember my birthday. So we've got this sense of an expectation and an entitlement, especially as the love goes for longer times. We are entitled to be spoken to in certain ways, treated in certain ways, have the loved one themselves act in certain ways. But in so many of those cases, that which we want from the other one is really just about our own ego. Earlier today, I was on a Facebook Live with the Times of India speaking tree about what they called toxic parenting. And the questions were questions around parents and children. But one of the topics that we were talking about, which is not only parents and children, it's every relationship, is this idea that because I love you, I am entitled not only to share my opinion, not only to offer it in love, not only to guide you if you're a very young child, but I'm actually entitled to have you base your life on my agenda. And we don't only have this about our children, we have it about spouses, we have it about our parents. And so if you possibly can, pull love, which is unconditional. Love is not, oh, you remembered my birthday, I love you. You forgot my birthday? I hate you. But love that is independent of what you say, what you do, what you remember, how you dress, how much money you bring home, what choices you make about your life. Love that is love for you as the essence of who you are. You bring home an A on an exam, the love is there. You bring home an F on the exam, the love is there. We're not giving love in one case and pulling in love in the other case. That love is loving the divine in that person. And what's beautiful is that it's difficult, it's challenging in our close relationships to suddenly stop expecting, to suddenly stop having attachments. And beautifully, it can actually go the other way as well. If you begin by really deeply, fully loving God, it will help you love God's creation in an unconditional way. Because you'll be able to see God's creation in all. So if it's too hard to just begin by looking at your husband or wife or child or parent with no expectation, no attachment, no agenda, to just love them as soul, it's okay. Start by loving God. And then carry that love of God into the relationship. When you look at each other, can you see the divine? Yeah, someone's paying the bills. Yeah, someone's putting dinner on the table. Yeah, someone's doing this. Yeah, someone's doing that. But beneath the someone who's doing that is the soul, is the spirit, is that essence, that divine presence. Can you drop your love deeper and really love that divine presence? See God in them. You know, in India, this beautiful practice we've got of namaste, right? It's like our rishis and sages' way of making sure that we never forget as we bow to each other. Yes, it's used as hi, hello, bye. But that's not what it means. What it actually means is the divine in me is bowing to the divine in you. Which means that I've been given this beautiful opportunity to access the divine in me in order to love the divine in you. And so it's a gift to the one we are loving, but it's also a gift to our higher selves. Because if I'm going to love your soul, your spirit, I have to come at it from my soul and spirit, from my deepest place. So begin either way. They're going to bring you to the same place. Does anyone here have a question? Be happy to take it. Yes. He's just going to bring you the microphone.
When we are healthy, when the body is healthy, it's kind of easy to say that I am not this body, I am not this mind, neti neti. But when there's some painful disease, such as cancer or something else, the body reminds us that yes, you are very much this body. So in those moments, is it really possible to say I'm not this body?
Beautiful. It's a lot easier, of course, to disassociate from the body when we're not noticing it, when it's healthy and doing its thing. Yeah, I'm not the body. But a lot harder when the body is constantly sending us reminders through pain, through difficulty. But yes, of course it's possible to remember you're not the body at those times. And interestingly, even though by God's beautiful grace I've never had that type of a life-threatening or excruciatingly painful situation, from what I've read and from what I've heard, it's actually those moments that it is easier to realize you're not the body. Because in those moments, if you can access pure consciousness, pure love, pure presence, even in the face of a part of your body sending all kinds of chemical signals of pain, if you're able to access something inside that is not that pain, then it becomes even easier actually to realize, oh yeah, there is pain happening over here. There is nausea over here. There is discomfort over here. And yet, I am the one who's aware of that. I am the one who's just this pure awareness. I am noticing. I'm not the pain. I'm noticing the pain. If I'm aware of the pain, it means I'm not the pain. Right? If I'm reading this paper, it means I'm not the paper. I'm the one who's reading it. If I am aware of the pain, well, then I'm not the pain. I'm the one who's aware. And it's at times like this when practices of mindfulness, of awareness, deep accepting, loving awareness for just what is okay. There is pain happening. There is nausea happening. There is discomfort happening. And I am the one aware of it. So it actually gives you that opportunity even more deeply to experience a place inside that is not the body. When we don't really feel the body much because it's not painful, it requires a bit more mental work to realize I'm not the body. I mean, because most of us aren't really even in touch with the body most of the time. In and of itself, that's a powerful meditation, is just being in touch with the body. Can you feel the bottoms of your feet? I mean, just take a moment. Can you feel the bottoms of your feet? It takes a moment to get there, though, no? But it's a beautiful practice, actually, because no matter what's going on in our life, in most cases, not all, but in most cases, the bottoms of our feet are still okay. Right? I may be upset. I may be hungry. I may be angry. I may be losing my money. I may be jealous. I may be resentful. I may be having so many experiences. I may be nauseous. I may be in pain. I may be fearful, stressed. But if I can just for a moment connect with the bottoms of my feet. In almost all cases, again, not everyone, but almost all, things are pretty okay on the bottom of our feet. And it's just a beautiful shift in awareness of like, all right, yeah, we're still okay there. But it takes several moments to even feel the bottom of your feet. So when intellectually we say, I am not my body, when the body isn't hurting, we may be saying it intellectually, but we may not actually be experiencing it. The only way to really experience it is, do you feel the body? Like, do you feel the bottoms of your feet? And then you realize, all right, I'm not the bottoms of my feet. I'm noticing them. I'm aware of them means I'm not them. But that takes its own special meditation. It's actually a lot easier said than done. My brain may be able to say I'm not the body. But I'm only able to really have that experience if I can first experience the body. Only then I know that I'm not it. I mean, if I'm not able to hold this paper in my hands and feel it and see it, and somebody just says to me, you're not the piece of paper. Well, I don't have any self-referenced experience to know that I'm not the paper until I can feel it as separate from myself. So interestingly, pain actually, while I would never wish it on anybody, when it arises, from what I've heard from those who have experienced it, is it actually arises as this very powerful catalyst into being aware that you're not the body, because the body is so present. It's constantly sending you signals. And yet, in the midst of it, if you are able to anchor in as the one who is aware, if you are able to experience love in your heart, if you're able to experience connection with God, well, you know, I am not the pain in my limbs or the pain in my abdomen. Yeah, it's severe, but it's not me. It's disruptive, but it's not me. I mean, think about sitting down on the banks of Ganga to meditate, okay? Just imagine you go to the banks of Ganga, you close your eyes to meditate. Now suddenly, someone comes over, a stranger, and sits in your lap. Or we've got all these beautifully friendly dogs. A dog comes and sits in your lap. Okay? It happens. I've had them come over when I'm doing talks outside. Now, it disrupts you. Somebody has come and sat in your lap. You're very aware. It's disrupted your meditation. But you're not going to suddenly start to think you are that person just because they've disrupted your meditation. You don't suddenly start to identify as the dog just because he will not let you meditate. In the same way, when pain comes as this disruptor in our lives, it doesn't mean that we need to suddenly identify as it. But it also doesn't mean that we're supposed to be able to just ignore it and push it away. I mean, I think we could all agree that if somebody came and plopped in your lap while you were meditating, especially if they started bouncing up and down, that you'd have a hard time meditating. But it's still not you. And so when pain arises, you recognize, yeah, this has disrupted my peace of mind. but it isn't me. And if I just give it a few minutes, you know what? Even with some random stranger bouncing up and down on my lap, I bet after a few minutes I really could find my way back into meditation. Even with this dog licking my fingers or my toes or whatever he's doing, I bet I could anchor myself back into meditation. And so in the same way, we recognize it, we see it. We don't try to push it away or pretend it's not there. But we realize we are not it. We are the one who is aware of it. And then we re-anchor back in that which we are. You know, it's an interesting practice. If you observe fast, obviously it's a lot more mild and much more temporary than having painful cancer. But it's a very powerful training, because being hungry, and when I say fast, I don't mean a falahar upwas. I don't mean that you're just substituting, wheat for some falahar type of flour and you're still having puris and pakoras and whatnot. But I mean actually not eating. An actual fast of not eating. Well, after some time, the body starts to send signals of hunger. In a few hours, it's just hunger. Give it another few hours, it starts to be kind of cramping. Give it a day, and most of us are really, really struggling. And it's a beautiful practice because it trains us to experience a sensation in the body that is not pleasant. As it turns out, it also gives us this beautiful opportunity to be light, to pray more, to meditate more, to not waste energy in digestion. So fasting has a whole spiritual other component as well. But one of the really powerful benefits is it trains our mind to learn, yeah, that stomach is just growling, it's cramping, it hurts. But you know what? I'm still here. I'm aware of it, I'm noticing it. And then I'm going back to my meditation. I'm not allowing the hunger to become my meditation. I'm not allowing the hunger to steal my peace. I realize that even though the body is screaming, I don't have to react. I've made a sankalp, I've made a vrat, I'm not eating today. Okay. So I notice the pain, I notice the hunger, without reacting, without losing my peace. And it actually trains us for other times in life when the body gives us other pain. Yeah. Does anyone else have a question? Does anyone else have a question here? Yeah.
Namaste. My question is that in our everyday life, how can pregnant women influence their unborn child in a positive way? Not to direct the child to be someone that they want, just a positive influence so that child can achieve its full potential.
Beautiful, beautiful question. So, it's not it's not only the pregnant mother, it's also the father, the other family members, everybody around is creating a huge influence on that unborn child. First of all, on the most basic level, what you are eating and drinking is impacting that child. So eat as sattvic food as you possibly can. The last thing you want to do is create tamas, rajas in the system. Eat as easily digestible sattvic food so that the child's body, you are literally creating the cells of your child's body through what you take in. So make sure that what you take in is healthy, that it's fresh, that it's sattvic. But remember also that you're taking in more than just food. You're taking in energetically. So you're taking in what you're listening to around you. If family members are screaming at each other, all of that energy is going in. Sound is an energy. It's an energy, it's a frequency. We process it as words, language, but it's actually waves. It's just an energy. And as those frequencies, as those waves of energy hit our tympanic membrane in our ear, they start vibrating. They move the little hairs along in the inner ear. I mean, it's a whole beautifully fascinating process of how we actually end up perceiving language. But even though we hear through our ears, the sound waves are impacting our whole body. It's just the whole body doesn't send the signal to the brain, so we're not getting language from the sound waves hitting our knee. But if you've ever been in a rock concert where there's a lot of bass, you feel it in your body, right? It's not only what you're hearing in your ears, but the whole body is kind of vibrating. You sit too near to the speakers, and the whole body vibrates, right? You come home afterwards and like you lie in bed, and the body is still vibrating. I don't go to rock concerts anymore, but sometimes we have during International Yoga Festival, we'll have big music concerts, and I'm in the front and the big speakers, and I'll lie down in the night to go to sleep, and my body is actually still physically vibrating. And so what you listen to is actually causing energetic vibrations in the body as well, and therefore to your unborn child. So make sure to surround yourself in places where the frequency of sound is calm and peaceful and pleasing. But most importantly, the most important energy for your child is that which is flowing through your body. Your bloodstream is what is feeding that child. It is the actual ocean that your unborn child is living in. It's what's feeding that whole beautiful liquid experience. Now, if you're stressed or you're angry, those chemicals are flooding your bloodstream and are going into your womb and are impacting your child. If your heart is beating really fast, such that your body is under stress, your child is feeling that. So you want to stay really calm, really peaceful. Keep that heartbeat nice and low. Keep the cortisol and adrenaline out of your bloodstream. Do things that make you feel peaceful and connected and loving. And then, of course, put yourself in places where sacred ritual is taking place. Yagna ceremonies, pujas, arti, where they're hearing the vibrations, the actual vibrations of Vedic mantras being chanted. This has an incredible impact upon them. Be in places where wise words are being spoken. Their brains are not yet developed enough to understand it. It's not like they're sitting in there going, that's really interesting. But it is your understanding it. And through your understanding, your brain chemistry is changing. And as your brain chemistry is changing, what you are giving them is different. And slowly, slowly, their nervous systems are being built based on what you're giving them. So it's a beautiful opportunity for you. You've got the full perfect excuse to excuse yourself from any stressful situation, any conflict, any moment to just say, you know what? I'm going to go and take care of my child. I can't be here because this is not good for my child. So think of it as a beautiful 9 months excuse. To excuse yourself from any situation that feels stressful to you. Any situation of conflict. Put yourself in situations, again, you've got a perfect excuse of calmness, of love, where you feel loved and nurtured and nourished. Surround yourself with people who love you, who support you. That experience that you have of being loved and nourished and nurtured is going to pass on to your child. That the world is a safe place. The world is a nourishing place. That it's safe to trust. So now you've got all of these months to create this perfect environment for you. For your child. So use it. I mean, it's just such a perfect excuse. Who's going to argue with you? Right? I mean, who's going to say, hell with your unborn child, you better sit here and listen to me yell at you? Nobody's going to say that. Everybody, bilkul, bilkul, So think of it as this beautiful 9-month spiritual holiday and holy day for you of what makes you feel deeply spiritually connected, peaceful, in love, in joy. And that's what you'll give your child. Beautiful. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, everyone, and a beautiful day to our family joining us from all over the world online. And so much love to you all.